Currently at anchor position, number 40 in the Caroline Countdown this week. That's Jackson Browne from his album Standing in the Breach and Yeah Yeah. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 12 o'clock to hear the new countdown. See where he is then. Just to clarify, I'm talking about the week beginning Monday the 17th of November through to the 20th, when Manx and Caroline will be linking up, Manx Radio. We will be on the FM streams and AM streams during the evenings from 6:30 until 9 o'clock. And then overnight we're on the AM stream 12 midnight until 6 a.m. As I say, details are on our website and indeed on the Manx Radio's website as well. Now then, if you've been watching my Facebook page and indeed the Caroline Facebook page, you'll know that I have got a special guest in today, a man who was with Radio Caroline way back in 1964 on the very day that it started and got up to all sorts of adventures. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Alan Turner. Good afternoon, Alan.
Hi, Steve. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Thanks, Alan. Better known as Alan Neddy Turner. I'm kind of intrigued to know why Neddy.
Yes, everybody else needs the same question. I was a great fan of the Goon shows, the BBC radio Goon shows. And in my youth, misspent youth, I spent many happy hours watching the programmes being recorded. And of course, in the early days of Caroline, I used to regale all the crew, with the stories of the Goons. Hence the name, Jerry Layton actually gave me the name, Neddy. And I've been known by that ever since.
Oh, right, okay. Well, thank you. That's clarified one thing for me, because it's often intrigued me quite why. So how did you get involved in the first place?
Well, I got my grounding in commercial radio in the Forces broadcasting units out in the Far East. And when I came back to the UK in the early 60s, there were a lot of embryonic radio stations trying to get off the ground and get commercial radio started. But of course, and I did quite a number of auditions for these various stations. But of course, they were all trying to start on shore. And when I met Ronan in London, quite by chance, Ronan's idea was so blindingly simple. You know, you said, we're just going to go outside the 3-mile limit and you can do what you like. And we did.
Marvellous words. That's very Ronan, isn't it?
Yes.
But so it got underway in March 1964, and then Radio Atlanta came along, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are very well aware of the story that the two linked up, and then the Fredericia, on which you were based, went round to the Isle of Man.
That's right. And
you were on air on the way round, I believe?
Yes, we broadcast as per normal. It was lovely weather, middle of the summer, nice sunny weather. Calm seas and all the rest of it, and we set sail on the Friday night at midnight, which was in July, Friday the 3rd, left at the anchorage at midnight and set off on our adventure.
And how was it? I mean, going around the south coast of England, say, was the weather calm? Were you rocking about?
Very calm. Lovely weather.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And we had hundreds of motor launches and yachts escorting us along the channel. And that's when the famous Caroline flashing started. I was woken up by Tom Lodge on the Saturday morning, about 8 o'clock. And he came into my cabin and said, quick, have a look out of the porthole. And we were going past Beachy Head at the time. And I said to him, what are we looking at, you see? So he thrust a pair of binoculars in my hand and said, have a look through these. And the top of Beachy Head was packed, and I mean packed, with people watching our progress along the shore. So I hit on the idea of, I went back to my cabin and took the mirror off the wall over the hand basin and took it up on the bridge and started signalling the shore. And it was magical, just as though someone had thrown a big switch on shore and the whole shoreline just lit up with mirrors and car headlights flashing back. It
must have been wonderful, because we were just talking before we went on air about how the world has changed, and today we've got the internet and we've got mobile phone. So when you were out on that ship, apart from snail mail, as you called it,
yes,
you really didn't know what the listener reaction was.
No.
So seeing it visibly must have been marvellous.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing the British government did within days of us starting was to cut off the ship-to-shore radio. They would only accept emergency calls, which we didn't have any. And so we had no contact, no feedback as to what was actually happening on shore.
Have you ever hankered to get to do it all over again? Today?
Well, it wouldn't work today, would it?
No, I mean, as a broadcaster.
Yes, it would be nice to do something similar, which the present Caroline, the Ross Revenge, continues the story.
Absolutely,
yes.
Bang on. Now, I actually found a little clip of you on air
Really?
I'm going to embarrass you now. This was taken from the Caroline Countdown show sometime late in 1965.
A windmill in Old Amsterdam there from Ronnie Hilton. That's number 24. From 29 last week up to 23, Adam Faith and Stop That Feeling Sorry for Yourself. The time, 10 minutes past 1 o'clock. On we go with the Top 50 show, number 22 now. Then with Baby, Please Don't Go.
1965 Caroline Countdown of Sound, and Them, and Van Morrison before he was known as Van Morrison. Alan Neddy Turner doing the countdown show. So Alan, the ship went round to the Isle of Man, and that was great, anchored in Douglas Bay. What was the relationship like with the Manx people, if you like, the people on the Isle of Man, between the ship and the guys on land?
Well, it was very good. But when we arrived on Monday the 6th, we were expecting a lot of small boats to come out to greet us because of all the attendant publicity and attention they'd given us coming along the channel. And of course that faded away as we headed out across the Irish Sea. But when we anchored in Ramsey Bay, there was nothing. And we looked at the shore and we couldn't see anything moving, cars or people or what. And we thought this is possibly a deserted island. But of course we didn't know that it was Tynwald Day, and of course everybody was at St John's for the ceremony, public holiday on the Isle of Man.
Okay, that's interesting to know. I mean, something you were telling me before we came on air again was that the knowledge about Caroline on the island and that people's respect for it, if you like, still holds good today.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Tell me about that exhibition you were talking about.
Yes, the Manx government, through their museum authority, raised and ran an exhibition in the House of Manannan in Peel called The Pirates of the Irish Sea, and it was originally designed to run for about 6 months, and in actual fact it ran for almost 18 months because of the popularity of the show.
Absolutely brilliant. And that's marvellous. I mean, even today, 50 years on, and also...
So you are actually talking to a live museum exhibit.
A very good afternoon to you. Dust the cobwebs off and you look absolutely fine. Yeah, and indeed our colleagues here from Manx Radio will no doubt be having similar conversations with you, but
yes.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. So how long did you stay with Caroline?
I left in the middle of 65.
Okay.
To start another radio station, which is another story.
I'm sure it is.
And then subsequently I went back into the aviation industry, and I'm still in it.
Are you? Well, look, Alan, thank you so much for coming in today, and I hope my listener has enjoyed it.
Yes, the listener.
But and more of you later, I think, during that week that we're getting together with Manx Radio between indeed on the 15th, when there's a special programme called the Carnaby Street programme on Manx Radio, and indeed during those programmes on the 17th, the 20th. So Alan Turner, thank you very much. It's been absolutely great talking to you.
Thank you, Steve.